What's up, AfterBuzzers? You used to watch the last 2 episodes of Mistresses forever, and we're now going to talk about it. Stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
One final time.
Well, you guys, we are back for the last time.
This is so sad.
This is sad face because I love my panel very, very much.
Same.
Yeah.
Samesies. I'm Francesca. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram, XOXOCESCA, and I'm with my lovely ladies that I'm gonna miss so dearly. Go ahead, Start
Hey
it
guys, I'm Sterling. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Sterling Cates.
I'm Alison Dean. You can find me everywhere at the Alison Dean.
Hey y'all, you can find me everywhere at April Whisenhant.
This is so sad.
That's my name too.
This is your name. So we had a little blip in our coverage of this because of Labor Day weekend. And also we were sideswiped by the fact that they did 2 back-to-back episodes on Monday and Tuesday.
On a holiday weekend.
On a holiday weekend.
And one being the finale.
And now it's gone for good. So great.
ABC,
Good
we
times.
were not ready.
No.
We were not ready.
We really
No,
were.
and we were gonna have a special guest. I'm not gonna say who, but just because of the holiday weekend and everything like that, it didn't work out. So this is ultimate bummer. The end of the series, and no guest. Aww.
But we're together.
No, we're together.
true.
That's all that matters.
It is.
So we got a lot to cover and discuss, and we can make up predictions that we might never see true. I heard that they're trying to pitch it to maybe like Hulu or Netflix because they want.
I'm like, oh no!
That's like the new thing. A show gets canceled. Yeah. Go to Netflix or Hulu.
Because, like, honestly, like, how this ended, I would kind of like to see where they were going with this. So they were trying to pitch the final, like, season so we could just wrap everything up. And honestly, I would like to see where they were going with everything because we'll get into everything later. But at the same time, like, how could you leave us on these cliffhangers if you knew their ratings were, like, cut in half from when they premiered to, like, the season finale?
You know why it doesn't... The way that they ended it, though, being that they fast-forwarded so considerably, that leads me to believe they knew things that...
Yeah.
Right. Absolutely.
But then again, at the same time, they didn't button it up well either.
No.
Like, they didn't need to fast-track that much and then end the way that they did. A lot of people were commenting online saying they should have ended it on the
second to last
one.
I
Yeah.
completely agree.
Because now
That would've
knowing-
made more sense.
Right, now knowing that the series is over, that whole last episode is so unnecessary. Like, we don't need to introduce the son.
No.
We don't need to introduce
Karen Kim.
The
second one, the creepy one.
Right.
creepy
You know what I mean?
one.
It's like all these new storylines, and it's the last episode ever.
Right.
So that made no sense.
But it also had, like, in the second to last episode, no one had, like, a final thing. Like, we didn't find out that April and Mark got married and she had her baby until the finale. We didn't find out that Josslyn and Harry
But we
they
didn't
did
need to
get
know
married.
That. We didn't need to know that.
Yeah, I
don't
think
think
they
so
could have
either.
even left us.
But we didn't
hanging.
know anything about Josslyn and Harry except that they got married, which I was very happy about, obviously.
But we kind of could have assumed that.
I think so,
based
too.
on the way their relationship ended.
And like,
Yeah,
I think if
I
it goes to Hulu or Netflix, then what they have to rename the show.
No, they don't, because that's what happened with Devious Me.
No, but
So
I'm
they're
just
not
saying,
mistresses.
like theoretically, none of them like it's like now they're married with children.
The wives.
The wives.
Yeah,
The mistresses turned wives. Well,
it's like funny.
Let's break it down into the 2 episodes. So the first episode of this part 2 season finales was Back to the Start. This is a synopsis. Mark gets great news about his career. April struggles with how to tell him she's pregnant. Karen meets Adam's parents. Lydia's situation has devastating consequences for Karen, and Kate finds out the truth about what happened to Scott.
Yes.
So
Well said. Boom, 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 boom.
Should we go on to the next one?
well, like let's like
And Josslyn and Harry got married.
that's
Yes.
Oh,
that was
no,
not
they
the
did.
end.
That
Yeah,
was they
End of
did.
that one, yeah.
So that was cute. Well, let's talk about them then. So, at the end of the previous episode, Harry said, "My career is all messed up," like and like they didn't really talk about it because they were both like finally being able to talk with each other. But I love Joss because she's always been 100% supporting Harry and what he does, and she's like, "Dude, get this restaurant. This is where we got engaged, right? This is where we originally wanted to do it. Let's get this restaurant. And then, of course, he has to go and be super cute and like.
And of course, the guy's a judge.
Let's get married
Exactly.
now, right?
Just couldn't have worked
Just
out better.
happened to be. Oh, I also own restaurants in my free time.
Yeah, that was a cute moment. And he found a little seashell and
That perfectly had a hole in it. I was like,
Yeah.
I kept thinking, like, I've never seen a seashell with a hole like that. But all right.
That hermit crab or whatever was like really mad when he busted out of it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Exactly.
No?
Exactly. Yeah. I feel
But he looked good while doing it. Mm-hmm. I'll say that.
He did.
He is the best thing about this show.
He
and will
100%.
continue to be if it goes on Hulu.
Just make it Harry minus the mistresses on Hulu, you know?
Harry and the wives. Harry and the wives.
I'm up.
You know what was surprising to me, because I also find him to be the positive addition for the most part. I was surprised Alec wasn't at the funeral.
Me too.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, you brought back her co-therapist. What's his name?
Jacob.
Jacob. Where's Alec?
Right. Okay, so
The
that
whole
was
thing was
That was
so
the finale.
weird.
Where's just what?
The whole thing was so weird, and they didn't seem to be grieving at all. Like, that's your best friend, apparently, and
Yeah.
like they're.
Well, Joss was grieving.
I don't know. It just felt like no one was mourning.
I think the reason, to me, it felt like they were sad. I think the reason, so this is The Show Must Go On, the last episode, right? We start off with Karen Kim's funeral. I think the reason it feels so, like, not genuine and not real is because we literally just got smacked with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Lydia's still alive? Karen's dead, Lydia's alive.
Do we know that? Did they say
We
that?
saw, there was I thought they showed her at one point.
Lydia was in the well, it was at the funeral.
Yeah.
Oh, she was? I
Yeah.
don't remember that.
But
Lydia was, she was sitting right on there. Mhm.
I mean, as soon as the episode ended, the second to last episode, when you see her heel break, I was like, well, at first, the first thought that came into my mind, I was like, oh, is she gonna like push her off accidentally because she fell? And then I'm like, no, they're definitely
she's
gonna kill her.
I mean, like, just pure proximity, right? Of just, you saw where Lydia was leaning up against a relatively decent-sized balcony, right? And then you have Karen, who was definitely much further away when suddenly heel breaks. She's not a tall, like, she's not huge. She's like a petite woman. She flings forward. She couldn't even fling forward far enough, unless literally she
would've hit the
fell
edge.
and she like broke her neck. I'm like, but I don't even understand how that's possible.
She's
'Cause,
actually
like,
part of the U.S. gymnastics team.
Yeah.
right. Like, that's what I mean. Like,
pretty
it just,
unrealistic.
I was like, this does not make sense to me.
And
I mean, even a bad fall, you will do something to protect your face, your head, like whatever.
Right. It was poorly staged, I'd say.
I didn't
But
like it.
also,
Horrible way
And
for
also,
someone to die.
I'd like to think Karen, as a person, is a smart doctor. Every time she took a step forward, Lydia took a step back.
Yeah.
Step forward, step back, so stop walking towards her and
Right.
she'll stop walking back. Like,
Yeah.
what the? I was like, what the hell am I watching
You know,
right now?
I think it was
This is
frustrating.
the dumbest suicide scene I've ever seen in my life.
It was frustrating for
And I
me.
didn't say that because that's our last episode ever.
Right? Ever.
No filter.
Dun dun dun. No, but what was frustrating for me
Unless
is
it comes on
because
Hulu, in
she
which
was
case I'm
so, unless it comes back, she was so upset with Lydia, and literally like Lydia was blowing her up in the second to last episode while she's sitting there at dinner with Adam and his family, like, oh, this is Lydia, like, I'm so done with this, and like she told Lydia off. So for her to like suddenly be like, well, now I feel bad, it was like, I get it, but it was kind of like putting her in a place she didn't need to be. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, I think it's because she realized, like, okay, she did me very, very wrong and did some majorly creepy things, but she is ultimately, like, messed up in some
Right.
other ways. And she is a doctor, so it's one of those things, like, if it's someone that you loathe in life, if they start saying things about, like, them, oh, don't worry about me, you're never going to see me again, like, I think any human being is going to have that thing in their heart that's like, oh, gosh, let me help you. Like,
What
no one
about
wants that to
doctor?
happen.
Well, like
Exactly.
Not only human being. I mean, this is what Karen is trained in.
Right.
So you think, like, that's what was shocking to me, is just how Karen just kind of brushed.
Yeah.
She let, like, the anger part totally override the fact that there was clearly
Right.
something. Lydia was, you know, basically gasping for air. It was a cry for help, and Karen
I think
Yeah,
Karen should have
that
done
was surprising
something.
to me too. When she came to the office, I was like, "Well, she'll
What?
have her sit down in that moment."
Exactly.
But she
It
sent her away.
should have happened earlier.
Yeah.
totally.
Yeah.
100%.
Not with the open balcony. And the...
No, it's a recipe for disaster.
And even when she was there and she saw that Lydia was kind of like trying to dope herself up on
with
drugs.
the pills. She's like, what did you do? It's
Call
like,
911.
Yeah.
It's pretty
You
clear
know,
what she did.
this is hard to talk with.
She was still pretty
Your phone's on.
withered to have taken so many pills.
Yeah.
It's like, well,
She
I
could
don't know.
walk
I'm not an expert.
backwards.
right?
Yeah.
That's pretty
Two-step.
impressive. I'm just saying.
Either way, screw you, Lydia. Now we hate you even more.
Right.
Yeah, true.
You just killed off
Karen.
the real Karen.
Poor Adam, right?
Oh,
How sad for Adam.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Okay, wait. Can I say like the worst thing? Oh my god.
what?
I love it.
Okay.
Already.
So, okay, this is the thought that crossed my mind as so when Karen got the whatever call where she needed to leave and she left Vivian with Adam.
Yeah.
Okay. There was this one part of me that was thinking, okay, this has all been a plot for Adam to run away with Lydia and steal the baby.
Oh my God, Allison! I swear on my life, I thought the exact same thing. Really? Lydia and Adam are in it together, like they're just waiting for the moment of
Wow.
she's gonna
I would have liked that better, to be honest with you. That would have been really great.
I was like-
now
exciting.
accepting applications for writers.
I was like, he's a strange psycho, and anyway.
But
I mean, we
waiting for
really
the-
don't
for the
know him
perfect
that
moment.
well, so
Yeah.
I could see that for sure.
But then in the finale, he was so
Oh my God,
sad.
it was
He
so
was like
really
the only one grieving, I felt like.
But that's and I agree with what you're saying though. Like at the funeral, everyone was very, sad. Joss's eulogy was so sad. Clearly, they were feeling some stuff.
Right.
But then like back at Karen's apartment, it was just so it wasn't cold, but it's just like I mean, I get like she did just get married, so tell your friends, but it was just so quickly like, we got married. Ah! And then never turned back from being like laughing and happy.
Right.
Yeah.
And then poor little Adam walks in. He's more depressed, and he's just known her for a couple months.
Yeah, everything was a little strange. I mean, it was just...
But at least Mark found out he's going to be a dad. So happy
that's
times.
my least favorite part of the episode is when she's like, well, what about the tour? He's like, dads don't tour. I'm like, so you're just going to give up on everything we've talked about?
Yeah,
the
that didn't make sense.
entire
That didn't make sense.
season?
Yeah, that
Yeah.
didn't... I was like, huh?
And she's like, okay.
Yeah.
Because that's exactly what April wanted this whole
Yeah.
time.
You know what else didn't make sense? Okay, so the fact that Scott's wife was coming into the store to, like, size up...
Oh, I
Kate.
completely
Size
forgot
up
about
Joss.
that.
No, to size up Kate, because apparently Kate was the one on his phone. Kate was like, she found photos of Kate all over his phone. So even though, yes, we know that Scott was really still in love with Joss,
Right.
and for whatever reason he didn't have photos of her on his phone,
Because they
she
hadn't
was
been
coming in
together.
for Kate. It was just like weird. And then how she finally went up to her, and I'm like, what?
I'm
That
sure
was
she-
weird to me.
I'm sure
that
she
whole
probably
thing
just
was
saw
weird.
pictures from when they were together, and it didn't need
Wouldn't
to
he have
happen.
erased that by now? I mean, now he's
Yeah.
like, I don't know, that was confusing.
Well, I think the most important thing to come out of that is that Kate finally found out that Joss...
Thank gosh.
that Scott was the one that
Yes.
Joss...
I was like, sweet relief, great.
Yeah.
Water under the bridge, thank you. Now you know that Joss.
We
sort
needed
of
that to happen instead of her hating Joss for no
Forever.
reason.
Forever,
Exactly.
yeah. I mean, because she shows up like, hey guys, I'm here again.
That was weird too.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, we didn't know that you were just on sabbatical. We thought
Yeah.
you like went back to. What is she? She was at an ashram. Where did she say she was?
Oh,
In like Ojai.
Yeah, she was like, burning incense and chanting.
And having wine, probably.
She just didn't need to be in the episodes, period. Like, now knowing that it was the final 2 episodes, I wouldn't have thought about it again.
But like, look,
100%.
okay, think about her character. Blah blah. Think about her character though. They used her in the last episode to hit ferociously on her younger
That was funny.
nephew.
Yeah, that was kinda funny. I was like,
Regardless if it was her nephew or not, Jimmy Fallon, and regardless of that, like he was like half her age, and she was relentlessly flirting, and that's like. Her character never progressed, ever, not once.
was anybody hoping
This
that
part
Harry's
was.
son would have been like
Taller
better?
and cuter?
Yes.
this part,
I don't mean to dog. I don't mean to dog. I don't mean to do it.
I got
But I
you.
was like,
no, this part was hot.
Which part?
Like
the scene,
the eyes, the hair.
the top half
I
of
like
his
that.
face?
the
But, like,
scene
he
at
was
the
so short. I'm
end,
like, Harry is
the
not
scene
short.
at the end when he walks up to Joss and Harry, I was like, why has he come up to their waist? Like, couldn't
Yeah.
they cast it a higher?
Maybe she was
like,
short.
"What's up, dude?"
Maybe the mom was short. Okay.
Maybe it didn't fit.
But it didn't fit. You would think Harry's.
The blonde hair, the blue eyes fit.
Kind of like that surfer look.
Yeah.
Like
I mean, I understood it. I was just kind of like, There's a lot of up-and-comers in LA. They could have found someone else. I'm sorry.
There's a lot of casting.
I mean, like for another show, he would have been perfect. I'm just saying for Harry's son, I'm solely talking about Harry's son.
Yeah.
It's like
GQ model is the only thing that could
that
pass
makes
for
sense.
Harry's son.
Bags of steel.
Yeah.
He should have just been shirtless in the interview, right? No.
Yeah.
Okay.
It should have been like Liam. It should have been Liam Hemsworth or whatever. his name is.
like the same age as Harry or
6'6",
similar.
blonde Australian.
Perfect.
Clearly.
great.
The most obvious choice. It was such a weird storyline to introduce, though. I understand why they did it, because that's like one of those things that, just in case we have a last season, let's talk about this mom that I loved and she left me because she was married or whatever. And I get that's like this is a storyline for you to continue it on to the next season. It just was like not necessary.
But at the same time, they still wrapped it up though, because we found out it is his son. We found out that you know what I mean.
I think it
was
would
still
have been
wrapped up. There weren't any questions.
I feel like it would have been about the mom, because it kept talking about we were in love and she left me. So I feel like that's where it would have.
It would have also been, how can they really live together?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Joss would have gone
With
out of
the new
her.
baby.
She would have not been down for
With
it.
the baby, yeah.
Right.
Okay, can anyone else say that they were completely taken aback, I guess, about Joss having a kid with Harry?
That soon, yes. Unless it was like peer pressure by others. I don't know.
I was, but I wasn't. Like, whenever I saw it happen, I was like, oh. But then I'm like, Harry's just perfect. He's going to be the most amazing father.
Except then they bring in questions about him being a bad dad. I'm
Exactly.
like, don't plague his name, guys. In the
Don't
last
put Harry
episode.
down.
In the last episode.
But then he has the best reaction. Like, he
that
tells
was
the
such a
story,
cute
like, I don't
scene,
know
though.
how to be a dad. I've never had a role model, and I'm like, the heart is just beating out of my chest for
Joss
you.
didn't have the best role model to be a mom.
Yeah.
True.
True that.
Yes, true.
But they have a
You just
sweet
gotta
moment of
figure
him
it
holding
out.
the baby. So,
Didn't you think it was weird too how they tried to wrap up Savvy?
Oh, yeah,
she
she
ate
couldn't
5
make
months
it.
pregnant.
Yeah, blah, 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 blah. Like, I don't even think she needed to be mentioned at this point.
I definitely didn't think
It was
that.
odd.
And even him being like Savvy couldn't get pregnant, all that stuff, like when he was saying about the fatherhood, I was like, okay, now that's weird.
Yeah, it's
I was
not
trying
necessary.
to impregnate your sister, it didn't work, so now I got you pregnant, here we are.
Yeah.
She's perfect.
Keep it all in the family.
Yeah.
Man, I want to like, can we like interview one of the writers or something? Like, I don't feel, I'm not pleased right now.
There's
There's
too
too
many
certain
closure.
things.
Yeah, I don't have closure. Thank you, Sterling.
No,
I
it's
do not.
definitely left. Like we said, it could have ended at the second to last episode, and instead they just like ripped open the scab.
Yes.
And like left, like it's not this gnarly scab. It's just like a dinky one, but you're like, I want it to heal.
I completely feel the opposite. I feel like I got the perfect amount of closure. I've already forgotten about the storylines that they tried to start. I think the weird Karen Kim thing is the weirdest thing I've ever heard of. I'm good.
Okay, let's just talk about how strange that is. Because they went to the extreme with this.
Yeah.
Karen Kim's dead. Okay, suddenly April thinks she sees her in the store. She goes to get coffee. Karen Kim just came in. Like, isn't this her signature? Right? But then it's this lady that's not Karen Kim, and then she calls her brother in Korea, and the brother's like, we never received the body. Like,
The
that's
ashes.
just like going
Yeah.
way out of line. So what the is this lady?
I think the Karen Kim we all know and love was an imposter.
I
And
think
she
so,
was
too.
living this life as the Karen Kim who shows up at the end.
What?
But then when
And
she
the
wrote
Karen
a book,
Kim that
how
shows
did
up
they
at the
not
end
know?
is like,
That is
listen, this
that would be
girl is
exhausting.
living my life.
Oh my god, that would be exhausting. I don't know how anybody. No.
But why would
No.
Karen, the original KK, why would the original KK do that? Like, that would be, I could see how that plot goes.
But also she was a
Maybe
doctor,
they
though.
were
How
like
do you
parent
fake
trap
that?
and
That is a long
they had
time.
an agreement.
No, that is a long. Oh, that's weird.
Maybe
but
this
possible.
girl is like
I'm like,
running
that's
from
weird.
something.
But also, she was a doctor. You can't fake being a doctor.
Nope.
Not necessarily true.
Like, you literally can't. Let's say she was a doctor back in wherever she was from. You moved to California. If you want to practice in California, you have to take her boards. It's not like you can fake it.
She
Well,
could have
the
just.
second Karen Kim definitely had a connection because she came in. She's like, I hope so. I'm Karen Kim.
Right. And
So
well, I
it's
mean,
like-
the signature was exactly the same. I think that's what they were putting
One
in.
of them was doing something. To
Yeah.
do something.
That,
I
didn't
need
think about
answers.
that.
I need like official. I
yeah.
need to know what was in the writer's brains for this particular part of the story.
It has
This
to
is
be
what I
exactly
need.
what Sterling says. Is that our Karen Kim was going to be like a catfisher of the other Karen
I don't
Kim.
know if I can. I don't know.
It's crazy.
Not a
Or
catfisher,
there's
but you
like
know what I mean.
a
Like an
agreement.
identity
She's
theft.
like living a double life or something.
Right.
I'm gonna tweet the writers.
Do it.
Answer me.
See, why would they introduce that? See, like, there's certain storylines that we're like, oh, what will happen? What won't happen? But that's like a brand new
Oh, no, that was
storyline
like,
that,
whoa.
like, needs
Right.
to go a little deeper. You know what I
Way
mean?
deeper.
But that's
So
why they
it's-
did it.
To leave us on a cliffhanger in case it got picked up. So the thing is, I read some like articles about obviously the ending of it, and they were saying that it's not as crazy as you think, which is like, this is so crazy. It has to be crazy. Like I at least think a lot of people were thinking that it was Lydia and she got plastic surgery because she's so obsessed with Karen Kim, but it's not Lydia obsessed with
I
Karen
don't understand
Kim.
how it could not be crazy. Like the exact same signature, the same, like she clearly approached April as
Right.
like, I'm Karen Kim.
And you have to think about it. They got rid of KK.
Don't you know?
Right.
So it was literally just Joss and April. So they were trying to introduce a new third character, and obviously in addition to Kate, like somewhat.
Yeah,
but it's like, how can I just don't know where they're going with that, and I think it was like such a huge plot line that they shouldn't have left us like that on a season hanger,
With you.
regardless of if they knew it was if they were thinking the season finale was coming. I mean,
Yeah.
the series finale was coming. Do you know what I mean?
But that's what every show does. They want to leave you on a cliffhanger, so you want to know what happened. But
that was, like,
But I don't know if I've ever seen them introduce a completely new storyline in the very last episode.
They didn't do that with Breaking Bad.
That's a great point of reference.
I love Breaking Bad. So
Very
good.
good point.
Lost was not good, but they didn't do that either. I don't remember.
They kind of did it in Dexter a little bit, but
Dexter was a wackadoo. That was not a good. That was not a
Yeah,
good.
we
There
could
you have it.
I could talk forever about that season finale of Dexter, but yeah,
But
that was not a good one.
Those were ones where we knew that it was gonna be the end. This
Right.
one we're like, huh?
But it's just like Francesca was saying. I literally read an article where they said they did certain things on purpose, and then they wanted
They have to say
they
that.
wanted to pitch another final season to ABC as the final fling.
Right.
And then they just didn't pick it up.
The final fling.
Yes. Maybe it would have been like
Who's
Lucy. She
final
was
fling?
looking extra saucy in that
Lucy
last
could have been the next
episode.
mistress.
Can we talk
She
about?
was looking-
Can we
what
really
was that?
talk about how?
Lucy could have been the next
No,
mistress.
no,
could've been.
no.
The way she held her belly for a second, I was like, oh, gosh, we
dear.
got a teen
Can we
pregnancy
just
on
talk
our
about how
hands.
cute it was? Like, we literally have seen her grow so much.
Yeah.
In 40 years.
In 4 years.
That's crazy.
And you know how they jumped a year in the last episode? We saw her like jump a year too, and she was this like teenager, high schooler, like, but they still mature relationship like with her stepdad. Like, it was really cute, and I'm sad like that her character didn't get like to go further. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
True.
I was impressed on how much they made her look a year older
Yes.
in one day. I
She
was
looks
like,
a lot older.
yeah, she did. And I was like, she's the same age. So I was
Yeah.
like, good on you, makeup.
Oh, yeah.
I wasn't, I don't know.
Point.
It's amazing
She
what a
did-
little eyeliner will do.
Yeah.
But look,
I
if
guess.
it wasn't for her though, if it wasn't for Lucy, I don't think she, like, April and Mark would have come together so smoothly, because like Lucy's like, I want to go to his show,
Yeah.
and so April came,
Yeah.
and then she felt all these like feelings, and like,
But the whole so April's like, I don't want Mark to come back to me just because of the baby.
and that's
But
exactly
then-
what happened.
But then whenever they're moving or whatever they're doing, Harry's like, no, don't lift that. And she tells him, and it was just so set up. He's immediately like, this is right. Like, I love you. She's like, what? I'm like, that just happened.
That was weird.
Easily?
Yeah, it was all a little, like, I was like, oh, thank
it was
you.
all a dream.
And in
Like,
that
yes. It was like, yes, this is the last episode.
Yeah.
So.
And in that same conversation is when he's like, dads don't tour. I'm like, okay, you just gave up your 20 some odd years of dreams. But
You know what else they didn't
all right.
wrap up? Like, or at least I feel like they could have done a better job. The whole impact thing. Like, I know it was such
yeah.
it was such an integral part of this whole season. You know, they spent so much time building up
And then it
what's
was-
her name and the whole thing and the killings and the guy that was, she held the gun to. Like, we were
Yeah.
all freaking out. Like, is he
We
gonna
were like,
come
we're
back and
gonna
try
see him again.
Yeah. So like that was they just sort of like, oh, and that just will trickle off down the river. You know?
Yeah.
Like
He's dead now.
Sure.
I don't know.
Sure.
It just,
I mean, that's what we have to think or something. I don't know.
Instead, we get a hairy son.
yeah.
A hairy son. That just sounds so wrong.
Literally was kind of
he had hair.
He
did
was
have
hairy.
He had some hair.
I like that Joss was cool about it. But I mean, how else are you going to be? It's not his fault. He had a 25-year-old son or however old he was.
Right.
Joss has done, more questionable things, I feel like.
Yeah, she didn't have room to say.
She's also distracted with the 2-week-old baby.
Yeah.
Baby.
Can we also talk about the random weird plot they put with Kate having, like, Randy wasn't in the last episode, but
That was weird.
But they had the guy, like, I think April and I were talking about it. The guy, her little BFF on the pier, was from, like, one of the first episodes, right?
No,
Yeah.
he was Harry's closet guy.
closet guy, you're right, you're right.
the
Designer,
guy.
stylist that what's his name brought on. I like that I forgot everyone's names tonight.
Jonathan.
And I didn't even have a
But
margarita.
Jonathan brought up.
And I only had water.
Are you implying we had margaritas?
No, I'm just
Okay.
saying it would have
Just
been
saying.
helpful or a thing I could at least blame my lack of all knowledge on.
His name was Jonathan,
guy,
and I
yeah.
did have a margarita.
Now I'm jealous. Anyway, that was.
And I also
Yeah, it was
read
weird.
on like interviews or blog stuff, whatever, ABC or the writers, whoever, were saying that like there was a reason why they did that. Randy wasn't gone, like blah blah blah. I'm like, but what
why?
was the reason
But
exactly?
who cared about
why?
Randy anyway?
Like,
But
I wasn't missing Randy. I wasn't like, oh, that's so
was just
weird.
odd. I
I
Randy's
didn't even
not
know
there.
his name was Randy.
I was gonna say Michael, but that's the
oh,
other
that's the other
guy.
I think it was just because we didn't see Kate and Wilson. What's his name? I don't know. His name is Wilson.
Looks like
Wilson.
Wilson.
No, but his name is Wilson Cruz in real life, right?
Right,
You know
yeah,
that.
yeah.
He's the one that we had that long debate over.
Yeah,
'Cause we're
yeah.
like, he looks like Wilson, but
He
it's
did
not
look
him.
like Wilson,
His
and
name was like Victor
Wilson.
or something. I actually don't know, but
But like him and Kate,
Coincidence.
him and
Yeah.
Kate weren't hanging out at all during the season.
Right.
that's what I'm saying. It's a
True.
random thing.
That's what
to,
I'm saying.
like,
And they were
put in
saying
there.
like there was a reason or there was a storyline behind it, but I was like, that's just so.
Well, okay,
There's
wait.
just
I
not
guess
enough time for them to explain it.
the only
Yeah.
the only connection we can possibly, I guess, infer is he came over to obviously Harry and Joss's house to, look through Harry's clothing, and obviously she was living at the house at the time, so maybe they were just having snacks and wine together in the
And
off
maybe
hours.
he's
That's how
helping
most
out with the
friendships
restaurant
start.
now or something.
Exactly.
And she
He's
is
helping
too.
to style it
Yeah.
in some sort of
Sure.
way.
Yeah. I think most.
All right.
I'm glad we made that connection
I
for
did like her.
everyone.
I did like her with longer hair though.
Yeah.
Kate had.
Oh, her
I
extensions.
mean, it was extensions, but
Yeah.
it looked good.
I think she's just cute. I think whatever she can do, kind of whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's cute.
She's cute.
But I was annoyed with her storyline.
yeah.
Okay, you're allowed to be.
Can I make a comment that I don't know
Please
how
do.
it's going to be taken?
Uh-oh.
But okay,
I think I've made a lot of
I just want to talk about how
please do. Come on.
how a few of the characters were depicted once they became mothers. Karen Kim's hair was cut short. And then April's hair was natural curly, which please believe, I love curls. I wish my hair was super curly. But I thought it was interesting that she's never
You're
really
right.
wearing her hair always like she's had it curly a few times over the years, but now that she was mom, it was like she was super curly and she looked more casual. Do you know what I mean?
What did they do with Joss? Nothing?
Nothing.
Josh just kind of looked the same,
Yeah.
but like, I mean, they made a radical change with Karen by cutting her hair.
Yeah.
And so I just thought it was kind of
Do we know for sure that the show cut her hair, or did
Well,
I'm
that
sure
I don't
she
know.
cut her
That I
hair.
don't know.
I think that they were trying to like emphasize
the time.
point, the time it
Yeah.
being different, first of all, but also emphasize the point that they were making the whole episode that Mark was the uptight, crazy one now, and she was like the chill. Like
Yeah.
I'm like
Right.
go
doing this casual
natural,
thing now.
no tracking
And
of the
she's like,
poops
"Oh, yeah,
anymore.
I don't
Right,
have a
right.
worry in the world, so I
Yeah.
feel like that was like part of that.
Okay,
making
I can
that
see that.
But it was
point.
also, I do feel like it's the easiest way for a show to mark that time has gone by.
his hair.
It's changing a style. Yeah,
And
I
look,
agree.
yeah.
I mean, they could have colored her hair maybe, but maybe she was just like, F it, let me just go curly. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know, if you look at me, like my hair is shorter than like 2 years ago, but for the most part, like I do my hair the same style, I wear my hair the same way, I just had to cut it because I had dead ends, you know what I
Right.
mean? But like, you don't have to make Jurassic Park changes.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Not saying that it was, I can't even say the word.
Drastic?
Yeah.
Drastic, because like I said, like I love that look.
Yeah.
But I just thought it was interesting.
That is interesting.
How they changed when they became moms.
I actually didn't like the weirdest thing about April, that how all season we've talked about how she and Mark just don't seem to have a connection anymore, and like literally don't seem to like even want to touch each other. And then how all of a sudden, I mean, obviously, like, you know, things have changed, time has passed, but it was like, oh, she's this fun April that I've been craving so much before. Like, she was like, oh yeah, we can go out. And I'm like, you're not that way anymore. Like, they haven't shown you that way in so long. Like, she was talking about grinding on the dance floor.
Well, maybe Mark's changed her.
I mean, sure, but I was just like, don't make her try to seem cool now that she has done all of this stuff. Like, you've depicted her this way for a long time, so
Right.
I mean,
I think it's also, you know what it is? I think now that Lucy is turning into her own woman,
Right.
I feel like there's a piece of April that can just kind of go,
Right.
and I think that's what it is. It's sort of like okay, I've raised one and she's fantastic and look at what I've done.
Yeah.
Pretty much on my own.
Yeah.
So you know what?
Yeah.
Let's chill.
And not that she needs a man, because she clearly doesn't.
Right. Mhm.
But now that she has this like complete family,
Who's
and
now
again,
neurotic.
and again, not that that's necessary, and not that she needs that.
Yes.
But you know, that sense of like wholeness, I feel like now she feels okay. Now,
Complete.
like you said, a sigh of relief. Now I can
Relax.
and not be so uptight all the time.
Yeah.
And not have to be worrying about every small detail.
Yeah.
Because there's like another person in this with me.
And I
I feel
did
like that
like
could
them
be
together.
part of
I
it.
really did. I'm happy that they worked out, whether it went how I thought it would go. I like that they worked out. But my biggest question is for you, Allison.
Oh.
How do you feel that there will
Wow.
be no more Daniel?
I was just thinking of
They
Daniel.
never brought Daniel back.
I was just literally. I was going. Why didn't he appear at the funeral?
Did
Why-
anyone think that it was going to be Daniel and not Karen's like double in the store when like someone
With a
the
wig
door
on?
opened?
Oh, I was like,
no,
like Daniel.
no, before we saw that it was her, and like we saw, like I feel like there was a scene where we could like know that
'Cause she
someone
was
was
just
behind April. I thought she was going to turn around and it was going to be Daniel, but it
Yeah.
wasn't.
Oh God,
It clearly
that was
wasn't.
such a
I would have
miss.
rather have been Daniel than
Me
this
too.
like random
The real Karen Kim.
You know what? Okay,
Well,
you
the
know.
real Karen Kim can stand up.
It would have been more interesting when Mark was, you know, banding up with his ex-girlfriend. That would have been the interesting time to suddenly redirect.
bring back Daniel.
Yes.
Any
Yeah.
time would have been right.
Well, that's true.
To bring back
No
Daniel.
argument
Right now,
there. No
would
argument
be the
there.
right time.
True. But that could have at least like made it a little bit spicier
Yeah.
True.
because they have some chemistry.
Yes, they do.
Undeniable.
They definitely had more chemistry than April and Mark did.
But I think
Yes.
April and Mark had a more like casual, homey vibe, and
That's not how I want to be with my husband. I don't want to be like, hey, man.
but I feel like that's
Love
what
ya.
that's the kind of person April's character needed. Do you know what
Yeah.
I mean? April?
Yes.
Yeah. I'm just kidding.
This April is not that. I want some Daniel in my life.
So since we can't do predictions, I want to hear your thoughts about the series over the last 4 seasons and final thoughts on the finale.
We can go
first.
Well, I mean, we can start anywhere.
I was happy that I feel like my love Harry is in a good place. And I think that at just some point things took like a weird turn that they didn't necessarily need to take. And they've been like fighting to come back from that. And they have mostly, but I don't know. I still really enjoyed it. And I wish that they wouldn't have done this weird Karen Kim thing. And
Right.
I'm really sad that they killed her off, honestly. But I think overall as a show, it was a great show. I mean, like, clearly we watched so few shows last this long. So,
Yeah.
That's true.
I don't know.
And then there are quite a few that also last this long.
Like, I think 4 seasons.
major shows. Think of a 4-season show.
How many seasons was Beverly Hills 90210?
But you gotta think about
That's
it like
old school,
4
though.
seasons is like a make or breaking point.
I agree.
Like the seasons that go on and on are like Law and Order SVU. Like they just have like this.
It's a Grey's
Bachelor.
Anatomy. It's a Friends.
Yeah,
it's a
it's
Bachelor.
like-
Like you, when I think of seasons or shows that have had more than like 5 or 6, it's always like a household name.
right, and it's something that's like fresh.
I'm like, I feel like we should create a poll on this one because I'm like, okay.
That if we think 4 seasons is long or not, I think it's like
It's okay.
long-ish.
It's okay.
It's,
yeah,
I mean,
it's
because
okay.
Revenge was 4,
Yeah.
I think, and
That didn't know what was happening.
Problem.
Yeah, it's true.
It was amazing, and then it was like, oh,
they
what?
couldn't have gone any further than that, though. Like, they could have ended at 3, honestly. But anyways, I
They
digress.
could have ended this one at 3.
Yeah.
They could have too. Anyways, Allison.
You know, I just think that this is a show that I will always have fond memories of
Yes.
because I definitely fell in love with the cast.
I love
especially
that.
Harry. But also, like,
And
it was lovely
Daniel.
to sort of discover, like, you know, all the other peeps on the show because I really do think there was some interesting talent, and I'm excited to see where they now transition.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because I think that we'll see them in other places now. I definitely think the name of the show is what pulled a lot of people in season 1, and yet it was not the right name for the show.
No.
Because, and I think that's one of the reasons why it sort of meandered so much, and like they were pulling for all these like very dramatic and disconnected stories, and like okay, now we're doing polyamory, and now we've got like catfishing, and now we've got this, and it's like all these, and that's fine, but I think if the name of the show had been different, I'm curious
Where,
like
yeah.
Where it would
you know in
come.
like the books, choose your own adventure books,
Yeah.
you know, it's like, okay, well,
Goosebumps,
dragons, mistresses, I don't know, what do we want to call
it's
this show?
because it made it always feel like there needed to be some sort of scandal because
Yeah.
of the name, or there always needed to be an affair or a mistress,
Totally.
and that's not. You can't do
case.
that forever.
Yeah,
Right.
I'll miss the show. I'll miss you guys.
Yeah,
I know, it's just
I'll
kinda
miss y'all the
sad.
most.
I will definitely miss you guys. I will say, so this show like really got me hooked, like season 2, season 3, and then this season was kind of like a derp. It was really like it was kind of like, where are we going? And I definitely, but I still enjoyed it. Like it's definitely a guilty pleasure type of
Yes.
show for me, and I think for most people who watch it.
Yeah.
But I will say this last episode was kind of like confusing just because of the new storylines, blah, blah, blah. But overall, I think it's a fun show, and I think it has a great concept, but I do agree with the whole mistresses thing. I watched the last 2 episodes with a friend who had never seen the show before.
She's like, why
And
the hell
she
is it
was
called
like,
mistresses?
why is it called mistresses? And I was like, well,
I don't know.
I was like, I don't know. They used to be, and now I don't know how to defend the show because these are like the worst 2 episodes you could have watched out of the whole series. But I mean, it was fun to talk about, and these are like things, I mean, other than, I mean, some of them were really far-fetched, but they were fun to like kind of think about what could happen or like what they could have been. Like, I loved devising what we thought was going to happen.
Yeah.
Like, I thought that was probably the most fun part.
We had some really good ideas, too.
I mean, I have great fond
Yes.
memories doing this show for, you know, seasons and seasons
Yeah.
and seasons. So here we are.
Here we are. I know. I think I agree with everything that you ladies said. I actually kind of lost some interest in season 2, but I was very hopeful for the show. I really liked the characters. I actually am a huge fan of Alyssa Milano, even though I know that she didn't work out. I think that's why it started to go downhill, because in season 2, I remember talking with the panel. I think you might have been on the panel, or you, but it was a little bit different. We were saying that you could tell she didn't really want to be there. And I think that's, for me, when the momentum started to drop. But again, too, I have fond memories. I love seeing the characters kind of grow. I like it. I've liked the people that they brought into the show. They were all great actors. And I don't want to rag on the writing. I agree with the whole thing on mistresses. Like, they were trying to keep pulling this scandal up, but really, like, I think the name defined it, and unfortunately the name didn't set them up for success. And I'm sad that it's ending because they did put this one bomb. I wasn't say bombshell. She a bombshell. She pretty, but this one bomb into it. Like, what the heck?
Yeah.
Of fake Karen Kim. And so I'm just like disappointed that we
Or
can't.
real Karen Kim.
Right, or the real one. I'm disappointed that we can't see where it goes.
That's right.
But I am really sad that it's come to an
Then maybe Haley will pick it up.
We'll be tweeting. We'll be like, okay,
Yes.
come on.
Yeah.
Group
Guys, tweet
tweets.
us what you thought, because clearly we
Yes.
like have no idea
We know
what they
exactly.
were trying to
We're
do.
all over the
So,
place.
Yeah.
tweet us, comment us on YouTube. I know a lot of people
Don't
were.
forget us.
I know.
Forget us.
Well, I guess, I mean, since this is gonna end, stop it.
I swear on in my life, I was 2 seconds away
Like
from
the
singing
ultimate
that.
middle school graduation song, or like,
All the times we
oh my god. Anyways,
had together, and as our lives change,
Vitamin C. Like who names themselves Vitamin C? But
We will
get it, girl.
Friends forever. When my mama went. I don't know the rap part, but
I thought you faked it pretty well.
Yeah, it was pretty good. It was really good. But I want to thank you guys, especially everyone who's been watching us from season 1 or season 2. I've been on since pretty much season 2, I think. We appreciate you guys.
It's all a blur.
It really is.
really hates his mistresses and stuff.
We love everyone that's always watching, always commenting on YouTube, commenting on Twitter. We hope to carry you guys to our other shows. Let us know what you thought about this season finale. And everyone, tell us where we can find you. I would say in the meantime, but there's no upcoming show, but also what other shows you're doing so they can keep.
Oh gosh. How to Get Away with Murder soon. Just starting that one with Sterling.
So jealous.
The Affair starts soon with Allison.
That one is actually about an affair.
A legitimate
Believe it or
affair. Yeah, that's it for me right now, I think.
And where can we find you?
Oh yeah,
on,
y'all can find
social
me
media?
everywhere on social media at April Whisenhant.
You can find me everywhere at the Alison Dean and on the affair starting in November.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I ran into Ruth Wilson's publicist.
Oh, wow. Yes. High five.
Ooh, I gotta watch.
You guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Sterling Cates and on How to Get Away with Murder, which is about how to get away with murder. In case you ever want to. In case you're curious.
If you need a fill-in, I'm all in for that one. And you guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at XOXOCESCA. Unfortunately, my other show, Devious Maids, also got canceled. That was a bummer. But you can find me on the Kardashians
Tough times in Francesca.
Kardashians never end.
True.
Very true.
We love you all.
We love you guys.
Thank you. Thank you. So sad.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.